Look at how many blue cards we can fit in this bad boy. Hello and welcome back, and today I decided I want to go big. How big are we going? We're going an 80 card Cloudpost deck with Yorion to go as big as possible. So what is this deck? It's pretty much your traditional Cloudpost mana ramp deck using the Locust Lands, Ancient Tomb, Planar Nexus, and Urza's Tower to be able to cheat on mana and produce a ton of mana super early, to be able to drop game enders such as Ugin Eye of the Storms, Ulamog Ceaseless Hunger, and Emrakul the Aeon's Torn. But we have blue in the deck to act as protection and card draw to be able to churn through this deck. So we need the card draw to be able to churn through this deck because it is an 80 card Yorion deck. So the concentration of all of your cards is going down because the total number of cards you have in the deck go up. So to be able to churn through our deck, we have cards like Stock Up, Kozilek's Command, Null Drifter, and the One Ring to keep the cards coming, to find our game-ending finishers after we've established just a huge amount of mana thanks to our lands. And then we have various force effects to be able to counter our opponent's spells and protect our game enders to be able to close the game out. In addition to that, we also have a removal and nullification effects in the form of repeal to bounce creatures, dress down to stop abilities, and mop up Urza's Saga constructs. We have a little bit of tutoring in the deck as well because of how big it is. We have Expedition Map to be able to find our colorless lands that we need to be able to ramp, and Lorien Reveal to be able to go find our islands when we need blue mana. What really brought me to this deck is actually a card from Blueburrow that is kind of cool that you don't see very often. It's called Portent of Calamity. It's a sorcery, X and blue, and in a deck where you have a ton of mana, you can make that X cost absolutely huge. If you've never seen it before, it's reveal the top X cards of your library. You may choose one card of each type among the cards revealed this way. Put them into your hand. If you happen to reveal 4 or more individual card types, you can also cast one of those spells without paying its mana cost. So this is a way to just churn through your deck, find the cards you need, and if you hit one of your finishers and you happen to reveal 3 other card types as well, you get to cast that for free. So we can get a free Null Drifter, a free Ulamog, a free Ugin, something like that. So while you're getting cards to be able to take advantage of your mana, you also might be able to cast your finisher for free and close the game out. Backing this up is a little bit of disruption in the main deck in the form of Disruptor Fully because this deck is very weak to Wasteland. We are very much relying on our lands to be able to ramp our mana out, and we need our mana under us. And then the sideboard is just kind of a smattering of various things to protect ourselves, interact with our opponents. You've got Grafdigger's Cage, Fairy Macabre for graveyard matchups, Dismember as a removal spell to get rid of annoying things like Magus of the Moon, Harbinger of the Seas, stuff like that. Another force negation just so you can have a full 8 forces up against combo decks or to be able to force your game enders through. Flusterstorm to go up against Counterspell blue decks, Consign to Memory for the colorless and artifact decks that are running around, Hydroblast for the red decks and the Quarry Steelcutter decks that are running around, and to be able to blow up stuff like a Magus of the Moon, a Blood Moon, something that's trying to shut off your mana from the red Stompy decks. And then, of course, everybody's favorite Sky Noodle, Yorion the Sky Nomad, mostly here just to allow us to have 80 cards. We don't really have any ETBs that we benefit from blinking, but it's also a consistent blue card to always have access to a blue card to pitch to one of your forces. So just a nice little security guarantee there in the sideboard. So let's take this through a league, see how it does, see if we can overwhelm our opponents with the amount of mana and the sheer size of our deck here. And we'll catch you all in the wrap-up. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. Alright, it's time to go big or go home. Won the die roll. Let's go. See how many times I can completely forget about Yorion in my command zone this match. Yeah, I think we can keep this. I think we're going to try to high roll here and start off with the Urza's Tower. Wish I had a blue card to go with this Force of Will, but we're going to start off Urza's Tower into Expedition Map and then turn 3 the One Ring if we don't high roll here on our draw. And hope that our opponent is not on some kind of hyper fast combo deck. Alright, well that resolved. Underground Sea from the opponents into a Thoughtseize? Yes. What are they going to take? I have to imagine they're going to take the One Ring here. It's the only thing I can really cast. They might take the Force of Will if they fear us getting a blue card. No, they took a Null Drifter. Okay, does that mean that they plan on reanimating our Null Drifter? We did not high roll. I think we're going to play the Glimmer Post. Don't let them know that we drew an island and they're free to basically do whatever the hell they want here. I'm really hoping they don't just reanimate our Null Drifter, because we don't really have a good way to deal with that if they do. Luckily, they don't get any draws off of it. Okay, they're reanimating the Null Drifter. That is annoying, but they don't get any draws off of it. So this is Dimir Reanimator. And they don't get draws because this is the cast trigger. And they're pausing here because they're probably wondering why they don't get any draws off of it. Ugh, they hit a Wasteland? That's annoying. Okay. Well, this is pretty close to being over then. Yeah. These tempo decks are really good up against what we're trying to do here. We're much more suited for control style decks. But we're going to grab Planar Nexus and see if they want to Wasteland us here. Yep, there's Wasteland. With the Null Drifter and us not having any way to accumulate lands from here on out, I think we're just going to go to the next one. Like, that's fucking brutal that they took our Null Drifter, but it is what it is. Against what our opponent's doing, Grafdigger's Cage in, Flusterstorm in. I think we can take the Force of Wills out. Probably bring in Fairy Macabres. Probably take out the Force of Negations. Like, having pitch spells against them is really risky and is card negative, which is not what you want up against a fair deck like that. There's something to be said about bringing in the dismembers as well, but I think this is enough. I feel like between Kozilek's Command and Ugin Eye of the Storms, if they resolve small creatures and go more the tempo route, we have ways to deal with those. We really just need to keep them off of reanimating stuff here. And of course, like, the only creature we have in our deck is a Null Drifter, and they just happen to be able to snag it right off the bat, but let's try something like this, and if we have to adjust for a game 3, we will. Alright. Reveal Yorion. Okay, I like the amount of graveyard hate we have here, so we're going to keep this. And we are just going to go ahead and start off with playing Grafdigger's Cage on turn 1. Just get that down. We had the Fairy Macabre if they counter it, or if they have something else they can do here. And we don't really need to cycle one of these Lorien reveals right off the bat, but we'll see if they switched on to more of a tempo game plan, or if they plan on keeping the Reanimator package in and they were trying to go for a fast reanimate. Island from the opponent and no turn 1 Tamiyo, so that's good for us. We hit another Ugin, so we are going to cycle a Lorien revealed, grab an island, play the island. Next turn, we do have Dress Down available to us if we need it. So if they don't play and flip a Tamiyo next turn, we always have the ability to emergency Dress Down to try to get around Tamiyo flipping. Well, they got the Tamiyo right there. Do they have the Brainstorm to go with it is the question. And it's looking like no, so that's good for us. Emrakul, which does absolutely nothing. We are just not drawing the right parts of our deck in conjunction with each other, and that is something I found in general when it comes to this deck. Is it's an 80-card deck, and it honestly mulligans like shit. But we'll see. We'll see if we can piece some matches together. Undercity Sewers, okay. Bend another Tamiyo, that's fine. This Dress Down is live to both a Daze or any kind of counter magic, but we're going to try to see if we can sneak it into Cantrip and prevent a Tamiyo from flipping. And we honestly might just go ahead. Well, I was going to say we might do it in our end step just in case we draw a Null Drifter, we can cast it and keep it around. But since they're forcing the action now, we're going to do it now. And they have the Daze. I mean, we can get enough mana to be able to just cast an Ugin to exile this before it goes off, but we'll see. This does seem like an extremely hard matchup for this deck in general, but Tamiyo flips, upticks it. They still have 7 cards in hand. 6 cards now. And we are just absolutely hitting the wrong part of our deck here. Granted, if we can hit a Planar Nexus, we do have Ugin mana next turn, and we've got 2 of them, so even if they counter the first one, hopefully we can stick the second. And post Brainstorming again, so they're probably going to have a ton of counter magic. And they are going to have stuff like Consigned to Memory as well, so there is a possibility where they just counter the cast trigger from the Ugin, but we need to get pretty lucky here. And with a Wasteland, I don't think we can get back into this before Tamiyo flips, unfortunately. Odawara, we can bounce Tamiyo if we hit a land. So we're going to ship the turn here. Into an Entomb to get rid of an Archon of Cruelty. So do they have a way to bounce my Grafdigger's Cage? Alright. So we need a land or a Disruptor Flute. We're just straight up out of this game. That is a One Ring. This is probably going to get countered, but we have to try to go for it. Like, we can't just let this ultimate without at least trying to do something. And this is a consigned to memory. Yep. Okay, we're just going to scoop it up here. They just had literally everything, and we drew, like, absolute dog shit. So, alright, let's get our bad matchup out of the way and get on to the good ones from here. Alright, Lussadaro up against Grindstone Cowboy, who I think has been on Nadu breakfast lists lately. They're either on that or they're actually on Grant Painter, but I think they haven't been on Painter for a little while now. And this is pretty good. We got a Force Negation to be safe here. We've got lands. We've got 2 dress downs. I think we can keep this. I like some mana acceleration, but I don't hate where we're at. Flood is strength from the opponent, so definitely looks like Nadu breakfast. Into an island. Into a Tamiyo. Okay. Just gonna be the day up against Tamiyos today. The One Ring. I think we're gonna start off on the Urza Saga here. Urza's Tower. Just in case we hit a Nexus, we can try to One Ring next turn. Try to high roll. If not, we'll just play Minamo and hold up Dress Down. We can also try to fight over a Brainstorm. Just try to stop this Tamiyo from flipping as long as possible. That is a Brainstorm. I think we are going to fight over this. I do not want to deal with this Tamiyo right now. And we can play for a Daze. If they want to force their down 2 cards. Like, it feels weird fighting over a Brainstorm, but I need to hold off this Tamiyo as long as I possibly can. Alright. Fought that off for now. I think they had a Daze based on how they were pausing there. There's a One Ring, or an Ancient Tomb. That might let us One Ring next turn. I'm going to hold up this Dress Down. I have a very strong feeling it's going to get dazed when I go for it. But if we can get the Daze out of the way for the Dress Down, slam Ancient Tomb into the One Ring, we have a chance to catch up and race this Tamiyo. They like whatever it was on top with that Meticulous Archive that they got. Getting into a Tamiyo to get their clue. Cracking a clue, okay. Into a Tundra. In end step, I am going to play this Dress Down, see if this gets a counter out of their hand, and if we luck into a Null Drifter, this allows us to cast it. This also looks juicy enough that they're probably willing to counter it. Okay, so it is Nadu breakfast. Force of Will, pitching a Nadu. Do you have a Daze as well is the question. Or we don't even have to worry about it. We can play Planar Nexus, play the One Ring, and this actually allows us to play, or tap and untap the ring in the same turn. Okay, or they just have double Force of Will, but this gives us enough mana to be able to Ugin next turn and their hand is empty. So I actually don't hate how that all turned out, getting all of their counters out of their hand. They could flip Tamiyo here in theory, because they could attack in, hit a land, flip Tamiyo, then they have 1 card in hand. Get in with the Tamiyo, get in their clue. Are they going to play the clue, or play a land, crack the clue? Okay, there's a land, so it looks like they're going to flip Tamiyo, which means they're going to have 1 card in hand. Or 2 cards, I guess, but either way, they won't be able to stop the cast trigger off of the Ugin. They might be able to counter it, but they won't be able to... Ooh, and a Cloudpost, okay. I like that. But like I said, they're not going to be able to counter this, or counter the cast trigger. They might be able to counter the spell, but Tamiyo's gone. However, we are shields down if they assemble their combo. Alright, that resolved. We draw a land, which is useless for right now, but we have a card draw engine online, and hopefully they didn't just manage to assemble their combo out of nothing, drawing blind off the top of their deck. A land is not part of the combo, and it looks like they're passing the turn. Okay, I like that. That gives us a shot here. Portent of Calamity. So we could try to portent for a shitload here, which I think we're going to do, but I think we want to draw first. See if we can find some kind of counter magic. There is a Null Drifter. So we can either cast Null Drifter or we can try to portent for a bunch. I think portent is probably our best bet here. It's just a matter of how much mana do we want to dump into it. I think we're just going to dump everything we have into it here. And portent for 6. If they counter this, at least it means they don't have their combo. And they do have to worry about Ugin. Okay, they're not going to Ugin, or wow, the Daze. And they do have to worry about this Ugin coming out. So of each card type, we can get, let's grab a land, a instant, creature, planeswalker. Yes, we want this. We will cast the Null Drifter for free to draw 2. There's no targets for Ugin. And hopefully this finds us some kind of counter magic. No, found us a Disruptor Flute, though. So that may be able to help us out next turn. We also can just ultimate this Ugin. And we need to chuck something, so we're just going to chuck the Ancient Tomb. Like, the hope is we just ultimate Ugin, go grab all of our big stuff, cast our big-ass Eldrazi, and win the game. Hedge Maze, Binning and Urza Saga, so they don't have the combo yet. And they were drawing blind. And they scoop it up, okay. Managed to dodge them having the combo, that was nice. So up against what our opponent's doing here, bringing Grafdigger's Cage, bring in Dismembers and Fairy Macabres, bring in Flusterstorms, take out the Force of Wills and the Force of Negations. And then we need to make 2 more cuts here. Maybe we don't need all 3 Fairy Macabres. Maybe we'll do 2 Fairies. And then we will trim 1 Expedition map. And let's try that. Alright, reveal Yorion. This is interesting. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. It's a little wonky, but we're going to try it. And they have a Nomads in core, so they could have the turn 2 win. Unfortunately, if they do, we don't really have anything we can do about it. There's a Flusterstorm. I mean, we're just going to play Glimmer Post into Expedition map. And just hope they don't have the turn 2 combo. And if they do, I guess they got it. Alright, that's turn 2 combo. We probably could have mulliganed for Graveyard Hate a little bit better, but I just want to see what their deck is here, so we're going to let them do this. See how they decided to sideboard. Just get some information here. Consign to Memory. Okay, they do have Memory's Journey. They brought in Force Negations. Brought in Flusterstorm, okay. Alright, so after seeing their deck, it looks like they brought in Consign to Memory and Force of Negation, and that's it. So, okay, apparently we need to mulligan for some more Graveyard Hate. They just had to turn 2. Based off of the counts I see here, it was probably protected as well, because I only see 3 Force of Wills, so it would have had to have been Fairy Macabre. That being said, I think we will bring in the extra Fairy Macabre, trim 1 more Expedition map, and try that. Alright, remember to reveal Yorion. Dismember, Flusterstorm, Repeal. I don't hate this. We're going to go ahead and keep this. We have some interaction for what they're doing, so I think they're going to have a hard time dealing with a Flusterstorm if we let them just go off. So we will play our island. We can also try to repeal or dress down some stuff as well. We're kind of just hoping to hit lands with this hand. But if they drop a turn 1 Nomad, we're just going to try to kill it with a Dismember and see where it goes. See if we can get some counter magic out of their hand. And no Ponder, okay. Like I said, the nice part is Flusterstorm also is able to, like, we can let them go off, do their thing. They'll cast a bunch of spells, and then we can try to Flusterstorm, and there will be multiple copies that they have to try to get through. Alright, they did not shuffle off of that Ponder. We hit a Portent of Calamity. We will play an Urza's Tower. We're probably going to go ahead and just end step Dress Down just to cycle, and then if we happen to hit land and Null Drifter, we'll try to do that, see if we can get our Null Drifter to stick around. It looked like they took most of their removal out of the deck. Okay, Shuko. Do they have the Nomad as well? Yes. So, do we want to dress down? Do we want to dismember? I think we're going to go ahead and actually try to repeal this Nomad. Yeah, we're going to try to repeal the Nomad. Okay, that resolved. We drew an Ugin and a Cloudpost, so we'll play that. Now we have Dismember and Flusterstorm up. And we can Dismember to increase the Storm count. We did see Consign to Memory, though, so that's mildly problematic. Because they could consign the Storm trigger. Nadu Winged Wisdom. Do I want to try to dress down now so that they don't get any triggers off of it? I think I do. And then we will try to dismember it on our own turn. Hit a land, okay. We will try to dismember it on our turn so that they only get one flip off of it. Okay, I like the Fairy Macabre. We're going to go ahead and dismember this on our turn. You get one flip, hit a Ponder, that's fine. They haven't had any counter magic yet. Nadu down. And we have a Fairy Macabre. Island for the opponent. They have another fucking Nadu. Okay. Well, they get two flips off of this. They can play Nomad and get a whole bunch of flips. Like, this feels really bad, but there's a world where we can still pull this out. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. If we hit a tower, we can cast backup Nadu, of course. If we hit a tower, we can cast Ugin to exile the Nadu. They do get 4 more flips on our turn, which is very annoying, and they have another Nadu. That is a Planar Nexus. And we can hold up Flusterstorm. We will exile Nadu. You get a flip here. That's a Narcomoeba. That doesn't matter. And they're going to keep trying to flip. They found a Force of Will. We can try to fluster the Force of Will. 2 Force of Wills, not so much. However, 1 Nadu is down now. Force of Negation pitching Narcomoeba. Okay. Well, that's 1 Nadu down. They're going to get another one. Like, normally I would scoop here, but because we have another Ugin and we have a Flusterstorm if they try to go off, I'm willing to try to have this fight. Alright, there's another Nadu. We're just going to always yield to this. Let them do their thing. I'm kind of hoping they just try to go for it here. Alright, they're going to have a whole bunch of counters, which is annoying but not the end of the world. And now they get to get in for 2. They'll get to do 4 more flips on my turn. We know that Ugin's going to get countered, but we can at least get rid of Nadu number 3. And they do have to discard a bunch of cards here. And this does allow them to try to Dreader turn back a Nadu later. And we hit a Portent. Well, we're just going to run back what we did last turn. And hope that they didn't hit a Consign to Memory. It looks like they're digging for 1. There's a Flusterstorm, so that kind of screws up our Flusterstorm plan. They're brainstorming, so they're still trying to find a Consign to Memory somewhere. Fetching with Flooded Strand. Do they have another? They have another Brainstorm to try to find one. Okay, they put a card back on top. I'm assuming that means it's Consigned to Memory. Force of Negation pitching Ponder. Okay. Did we still get rid of... Okay, we still got rid of the Nadu at least. We still are dying to this Urza's Saga and the Nomad. So I still don't like where we're at. I'm curious if they just boarded their combo out entirely. And they're just relying on Nadu now. We still know that they at least have 2... Nadu number 4. Understood. Okay, they do have Illusionists. So they still do have the whole combo. Unfortunately, this Flusterstorm means that our Flusterstorm isn't really going to do anything unless they tap out to the point where they can't do their thing. And it looks like they're trying to play it safe and basically just try to just beat us down. Like, I think this one's over, unfortunately. But we'll see. Because as long as they have mana up, they can fluster back. There's the Illusionist. Well, we are going to see where this goes. Always yield to this. Pithing Needle, okay. Did they keep the memories journeys in is the other question. Another nomad. Okay, they did keep memories journey in. Like, the fact that we know they have this Flusterstorm in his hand is really screwing us over here. And they're not going to go for it all the way yet. Please chuck this fucking Flusterstorm, opponent. Chucked a bunch of stuff. They chucked the Pithing Needle. Another Fairy Macabre would be nice here. The One Ring. They aren't going to let a One Ring resolve, right? They're probably not going to let anything resolve if we're being honest here. Well, let's try to do a mini Portent. See if they'll just let us look at some cards here. They have so much counter magic, though. I highly doubt they're going to let this happen. Force Negation, pitching a Cephalid Illusionist. Okay. Well, we're going to try again. The hope is... I mean, even if they get the Flusterstorm out of hand, I don't think we're going to be able to make it to another turn to be able to hold up this as well. Okay, there's the Flusterstorm. So if they try to hold off for one turn, there's a shot. But there's also a possibility that they might just have something to go off now. Like, I don't know. I do not like where we are at all. They also could just basically flip their whole deck, get their Thassa's Oracle and play it. Like, that is a very real possibility. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is just find their Thassa's Oracle and play it. They have enough flips to be able to do it. I haven't seen a Thassa's Oracle yet. Yep, they can make a dude. That's fine. I still haven't seen the Thassa's Oracle in any of these piles, so I'm assuming it's one of the last cards of their deck. There's the Oracle. Okay, yep, they had it. That was well played. At least that was a close game. So, alright, let's just rally back. Alright, won the die roll. Let's rally. Come on. Show off the old bird snake. And what do we have here? We have... Okay, I don't hate this. It's a little wonky with the mana, but we have an Expedition Map and a Cloudpost, so I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. And we will start off on the Cloudpost. We could play Ancient Tomb and hold up Disruptor Flute, or do Ancient Tomb plus Expedition Map. But I like Cloudpost first. Then next turn we will play Expedition Map, play Ancient Tomb, hold up either Cracking Expo Map or Disruptor Flute. Polluted Delta from the opponent, into an Underground Sea, into a Thoughtseize. Okay, is this Tempo or is this Reanimator again? Took the Disruptor Flute, okay. So I'm thinking that means they probably have Wasteland. Okay, the One Ring. We will play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. We'll probably go grab Nexus here. We'll see what they do, though. Okay, Island. Into a Ponder. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to grab Nexus because we can filter mana into blue with Nexus if we need to. And it will also allow us to play the One Ring around a Daze. Shuffled off with the Ponder. Nile Spellbomb. Okay, so this is probably Tempo if they have Spellbomb. Luckily, we do not care about our graveyard at all. And we will go grab the Planar Nexus. A Lorien Revealed. And we will play the One Ring. And if they have a Force, it's 2 cards out of their hand at least. Then it is. Flame of Anor. Okay, so yeah, this is either Grixis Wizards or Grixis Tempo. And we can easily cycle this Lorien Reveal to go grab another land to get a little bit closer to Ugin. Wasteland. What are they going after? They're going after this? Okay. And we will cycle Lorien Revealed. Grab an island. Cracking Nile Spellbomb to draw a card. Okay. Like I said, we don't care about our graveyard at all, so that's totally fine. And we have a Dress Down to try to do some stuff here if we need to. Emergency Cantrip or something. Another Lorien Revealed. Okay, so we have another land lined up at least. Or we can try to hold on to it and play it if we hit another land. Alright, there's a Volcanic Island. I think we are going to go ahead and step Dress Down just to cycle, and if we hit a Null Drifter, we can get our Null Drifter to stick around. This also... Okay, Force Negation isn't bad. We hit a Expedition Map, which we will go ahead and play. And I think we are going to go ahead and cycle this Lorien Revealed to guarantee a land drop. It does take Force Negation off the table, But I need to hit the lands so we can work our way up to this Ugin and this Ulamog. We can go grab a land off of Expedition map. Probably go get another Planar Nexus. Unfortunately, the draw go does favor our opponents. Ponder, okay. And starting next turn, we do have Hardcast Force Negation up if we need it. We are doing quite a bit of damage to ourselves with this Ancient Tomb, but unfortunately it is what it is. Opponent did not shuffle. Into a Wasteland. Going after the Cloudpost. Okay. Well, I mean, we're still going to go grab the Nexus. Okay, I don't hate Repeal. If they get something on board, we can at least bounce it and draw a card. And we have Hardcast Force Negation up if we need it. Brainstorm. I don't think we're going to fight over that. We want to fight over, like, a Planeswalker or something like that. Into a Scalding Tarn, so they can shuffle. But they're just going to pass the turn. I mean, luckily they're not presenting a clock or anything, so, like, we have time to just hit our land drops. A Portent of Calamity. I think because we have Force Negation, it's worth trying to get a counter out of their hand for this. And we are just going to throw all of our mana into it. Portent for 4. Like, if they have a counter, they have a counter, but it gets more cards out of their hand. And they don't. Oh, and I hit the full spread here. Dress Down, Glimmer Post, Lorien Revealed, and Null Drifter. So we get the full spread. We will cast the Null Drifter for free. And then we can play the Glimmer Post to get a little bit of mana back. Or a little bit of life back. And another Nexus. Okay. They can counter the body of the Null Drifter, but that's not really what matters here. And then we'll play Glimmer Post, get a little bit of little bit of health back. And then we can pass the turn, and we're going to chuck the Dress Down. We don't need it anymore. Undercity Sewers. Put a Scalding Tarn in the yard, that's fine. And we have Force Negation to stop anything too crazy from happening. So bin the Dress Down, we don't need it anymore. I think we turn the corner now. Into a Brainstorm, that's fine. We're not going to fight over that. Volcanic Island. Kaido, Bane of Nightmares. We are going to say no to that. Probably pitching the Repeal. And if they fight over this, it means they're not going to have counter magic to fight over our high-end stuff here. Alright, we've picked up game 1. I like that. So against our opponent, we definitely want Flusterstorms in. They probably use their graveyard, so there's something to be said about Grafdigger's Cage, because they probably got like Snapcaster Mages and stuff like that. Normally, I want to go down Forces. Like, that's what you're supposed to do up against the fair decks, but we saw that did not go very well last time. And Forces did kind of help us quite a bit. I kind of want to bring the Dismembers in as well, just for more removal. And then I think we might take the Force of Wills out, leave the Force of Negations to be able to stop like a hardcast Kaido or something, and rely on the Dismembers and the Kozilek's commands just to get rid of any creatures before they get a chance to Kaido them in. Let's try this, and we'll just sideboard if we go to game 3, but let's try this. Show off the Snakebird. Okay, I don't hate this at all. I think we can go ahead and keep this. It's a little shields down, but I like the removal and I like the acceleration. Underground Sea from the opponent into a Tamiyo. So we're going to play this game. Got it. We draw a Dress Down. I think I'm going to lead off on the Glimmer Post here. And I think we're going to hold up cycling a Lorien Revealed so that we can get blue mana to try to slam this Dress Down in response to a Brainstorm. Assuming they don't just pop off right away, but we'll see. They could just have a Brainstorm and flip Tamiyo on turn 2. I've been hearing some calls for this card to get banned, and I'm not going to say I'm against it, but I'm also not going to say I'm actively rooting for it. Cracking the Scalding Tarn, okay. Thunder Trap Trainer. Okay, so they're going for creatures this time around. So they actually have a clock, so we don't have all the time in the world. They have a Thoughtseize, which is a little annoying. We are going to Island Cycle this Lorien Revealed. Grab an island, and we hit a Repeal. I actually like that quite a bit. We're going to pass the turn. This Thoughtseize is a little annoying, but since we have 2 things to deal with a Tamiyo, I think we're just going to let it happen. Delta from the opponent into the Thoughtseize. Go ahead. We have 2 ways to try to deal with this Tamiyo, so I'm kind of okay with letting this happen. If they randomly have a Reanimate for this Null Drifter, I am going to be pissed. They do take the Null Drifter. We are going to let them get in. Like I said, I don't want to be the first one to make a move. So we're going to... Okay, since they didn't do anything, we are going to end of turn dress down. They can flip Tamiyo in response, but they can't activate it at least. Okay, I like that. That gives us some play up against Tamiyo as well, and they don't appear to have any counter magic at the moment. So we will play Urza's Tower, play Expedition Map, and we will pass the turn here. Since they don't appear to have counter magic, I could use the Disruptor Flute now, but I also want to hold up this Repeal just in case we need it. Alright, they like whatever they saw and put it on top. So we will see what they do. If it's just a Brainstorm, then we'll fire off this Disruptor Flute before it resolves. Finally under a starting life total. I mean, luckily, it's another Thoughtseize. Well, we will fire off the Disruptor Flute now then. Okay, that worked. We want Tamiyo Seasoned Scholar, right? Yes. Tamiyo Seasoned Scholar, so at least we don't have to worry about the Tamiyo anymore. They're probably going to take the One Ring here, which is fine. They might take the Repeal, but I can almost guarantee you they're taking the One Ring. There is something to be said about still taking out this Tamiyo just so they don't keep amassing card draw with these clues, but I feel much safer against it now. They always could also... Oh, they took a Kozilek's Command, okay. And a Mystic Sanctuary to get back Thoughtseize. Okay. So they can draw the Thoughtseize and Thoughtseize something else, but I mean, that's mostly fine. This is also doing a lot of damage to them. Alright, they took both of the Kozilek's commands, so they're worried more about that than anything else. We draw Flusterstorm. I think we're going to crack Expo Map and try to slam this One Ring. Grab the Planar Nexus, play the Nexus. They haven't had any counter magic yet, but they very well could here, but it'll put them down another card. Okay, it's just emptying their hand entirely. Double Force of Will. We still have a Repeal to be able to bounce the Tamiyo and draw a card. And we have all of our mana under us. They do have 2 additional draws, but I don't hate where we are. And as I said, they did a ton of damage to themselves. And they don't have a very fast clock going on here. I am a little worried about them finding a Murktide Regent, but it's not the worst thing that could happen here. We draw another Disruptor Flute. I think we're going to go ahead and bounce this Tamiyo to draw a card. We draw another Urza's Tower, so we have all the mana in the world now. We have another Disruptor Flute, and we do have a Flusterstorm to try to attack something they do. But they're very quickly going to remass their cards here. We have seen Wasteland, so there's a part of me that wants to go ahead and use Disruptor Flute on Wasteland, but we've also seen Kaido, so I kind of want to hold it up for that. Into a Ponder, that's fine. Plays Wasteland, probably taking out the Planar Nexus, yep. Okay, so I probably should have Disruptor Fluted on Wasteland, but whatever. Into the Tamiyo again, that's fine. Ancient Tomb, okay. I mean, we're just getting mana under us at this point, and their clock is very slow at the moment. So I'm still not super concerned about that yet. There also is a part of me that wants to flash in this Disruptor Flute so that they can't ninjutsu in Kaido, but they don't seem to be doing that yet. 5 mana for a Lorien Revealed. I don't want them drawing more cards. We're going to go ahead and Flusterstorm that. Same targets. I want them to be low on resources here. We hit a Cloudpost. I think this is the point where we put Yorion in hand. We can't cast it yet, but they do have 2 more draws off of these clues. 3 if they hit another land. We do need to find something big here soon, though. 3 mana. Flame of Honor. Well, we're going to flash in another Disruptor Flute and name the backside of Tamiyo again. Flash in a secondary one. So they can flip their Tamiyo, but they still can't do anything with it. And they know the last card in our hand. If they have another Flame of Honor, they can do this again and turn their Tamiyo on. But they don't yet. Planar Nexus. We are just going to go ahead and play Yorion as a blocker. I can play around all sorts of soft permission. We're not going to blink anything. This is just for the sake of having a blocker. Ooh, they kept edicts in. Interesting. Okay. Well, that gets a card out of their hand, but again, we're also at a point where we have a whole bunch of just absolutely banger draws here. We can't do anything, so we'll let 6 through the turn. Like, we just need to find one of our big Eldrazi and kind of just go to town now. But they have 3 draws lined up here. And they finally found Kaido. This one is slipping away, unfortunately. 1 card on top, so they like something they found. Ponder, okay. Like, Ulamog off of the top would be fantastic. Just take out both of their planeswalkers. Another land. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, we'll pass the turn. Getting him a Kaido. Go ahead and Thought Seize me. It's just a land. And they didn't even bother to activate Kaido. That's interesting. Another Planar Nexus. Okay, well, we've got 1 turn to figure this out. I mean, I guess technically, too, if they don't Emblem Kaido, it's only hitting for 3. They know what our hand is. They know it's just an Ancient Tomb. This Ancient Tomb is off. Okay, they do Emblem Kaido. So I've got 1 turn to find a way out of this now. 6 mana. Kicked Thunder Trap Trainer. Okay. Found a Brainstorm off of the first one. And another Kaido off of the second one. Well, that's a stock up. I guess we're going to give that a shot. If they counter this, we're just dead. And they had a Force of Will anyways. Okay, so we'll go to game 3. We just stumbled really bad on that one, which is fine. So do we want to change anything is the question. I really don't think we do. Like, we could try bringing the forces and stuff back in, but I really don't think that's going to matter. The only thing I can think that it would help with is stopping a turn 1 Tamiyo. But I don't even know what we would take out. I think we're just going to run it back. Alrighty then. Show off Yorion. Planar Nexus, Cloudpost, Disruptor, Flute. I think we'll keep this. It's a little wonky, but hopefully we don't just get wastelanded on 1. Play Cloudpost. Pass the turn. Okay, Underground Sea. Into a Ponder. Okay, so we're not seeing a turn 1, whatchamacallit, Thoughtseize or Wasteland. And I think we might go ahead and, yeah, I think we're going to play Glimmerpost, gain a little life, and we're just going to Disruptor Flute on Wasteland now. I really want to save this for a Tamiyo, but we need to keep our mana under us and work our way up to this Ulamog. Polluted Delta. Okay, there's Tamiyo. Do they have the Brainstorm to go with it is the question. Not right off of the bat, no. Okay. Okay, I like the Kozilek's command. We will play Planar Nexus. We could stock up here, because we've got 5 mana. But I think we want to hold up Kozilek's command to try to take out this Tamiyo. We could just do it right now. But they also could just pop off a Brainstorm in response, so I think we're going to wait. Badlands from the opponent, okay. We will let them get this clue. If they don't pop off the Tamiyo, we're going to try to Kozilek's command to end step. Thunder Trap Trainer. Okay. We could do it there to try to make it so that they don't hit a force, but they can still pop off with a Brainstorm on top of this. So I'd like to see them like grab a Brainstorm and go for it. Okay, they do have the Force of Will, which is a little annoying. I think we're still going to try to go for this here, but we're going to do these modes. See if this is worth it to them. And then this will allow us to stock up next turn. Depending on what we hit, we could also hit a Mull Drifter. Or a Null Drifter. Or they just have a Consigned to Memory. Okay. Another Planar Nexus. How much mana do I have here? That's 4, 5, 6, 7. I can just cast a Null Drifter and force the action on this Force of Will. Or I can double stock up. I think I'm going to force the action on the Null Drifter here. Just work our way up to this Ulamog. Hope that we hit some lands. We hit Eye of Ugin and Dress Down. Okay. And we have a Null Drifter, and they decided not to force it. So I'm guessing that means they have an Edict? Either that or they just somehow don't have a blue card to go with it. They're getting in with everything. So they either have Kaido or they have a way to flip this Tamiyo. I think I'd rather block the Tamiyo here, because I don't really want them... I don't know. Okay, they do have Kaido. I think that's mostly fine here. Like, there's just so many weird things that we can do here. They're probably gonna... Yeah, they're tapping down the Null Drifter. That's mostly fine. We basically would just love, like, another Glimmer Post or an Urza's Tower would be the best, because then we can just cast Ulamog and get rid of this Kaido. Ooh, they got Mystic Sanctuary and miscounted their mana. I like that. That's an Urza's Tower. That's 3, 8, 9, and 10. Cast a Ulamog. We are going to get rid of Kaido, and I guess let's restrict a little bit of their black mana. They can Force of Will this. That's kind of just fine. It did what I needed it to. If they Force of Will it, it's 2 cards out of their hand. Force of Will pitching Tameo. Okay. They do have a few redraws, but we also have a ton of mana. Our Null Drifter's going to untap, and we got rid of the card that we cared about. And I've got a bunch of redraws stacked up here. Okay, Wasteland is fine. Probably going to replay Thundertrap Trainer? Yes, replay Thundertrap Trainer. Found a Ponder. Plays the Ponder. One more turn and our Null Drifter is alive again. Did not shuffle off of the Ponder. Okay, Thoughtseize. I don't really care. Our hand is super redundant at this point. So none of that particularly matters. Like, they take the dress down because it's different? No, they take one of the sock ups. And that's totally fine. I really don't care about that. Next turn, Null Drifter wakes up, and we just hit an Ugin. Well, in that case, do they have another Force of Will? Because if this resolves, it's pretty much game over. And they scoop it up! Alright, got a win on the board. On to the next round. On the die roll. Show off the Sky Noodle. I like the Force, but we have 1 land, an Expedition map, and no way to crack the map. We have to mulligan this. We have 1 functional mana. And we have a Force. I think we gotta go deeper. Alright, I guess we're keeping this one. Let's put back the Eye of Ugin and 1 of the sock ups for now. Unfortunately, we aren't really doing anything until turn 3, unless they play a 1-drop, and then we can repeal it to cantrip a little bit. Opponent kept on 7. So, we'll pass the turn. We're gonna cycle this Lorien Revealed. Savannah. Okay, so hopefully this is something more on the fair side. Green Sun Zenith for a Dryad Arbor. So this looks like something probably a little more on the fair side. Granted, this could be another Nadu variant of some sort. And unfortunately, because Dryad Arbor is a land, in addition to being a creature, we can't repeal it. So, well, Island Cycle Lorien Revealed. Grab an island. There's that Eye of Ugin again. I think we're going to go ahead and just play the island, pass the turn. If they cast a 1-drop, we'll repeal it. If not, we'll just play Planar Nexus next turn and play Sock Up. Windswept Teeth from the opponent. Keen-Eyed Curator. Okay, so this is going to be more of a fair deck. We could always hold up the repeal on the Keen-Eyed Curator as well. There is Urza's Tower. I think we are just going to hold up the repeal here. And then next turn we can stock up with a bunch of extra mana, assuming that they don't have a Wasteland. Cracking the Windswept Teeth. Meticulous Archive. So it's some sort of Bant Green Sun Zenith deck. So I would not be surprised if there's Nadu in this. Luckily, they don't have anything to turn Nadu on with yet. Island from the opponent. That is a Nadu. We're going to go ahead and repeal this Keen-Eyed Curator. If they have a Shuko to start going off, we're in real bad shape. Okay, there's Disruptor Flute. That can at least shut down a Shuko. But it doesn't appear as though they have it. They could have Nomads in core. So there's something to be said about just slamming Disruptor Flute and naming Nomad. Into an Emrakul. That is at least interesting. I think we're going to start out with Stock Up. See what we hit. Opponent's going to Brainstorm. Okay, that's fine. See what we can find off of the Stock Up. Force of Will, Kozilek's Command, Null Drifter, the One Ring. Given what we have here, I think we want the One Ring for sure. We could evoke Null Drifter this turn. Or we can hold up Force of Will to hopefully stop anything too crazy. Kozilek's Command can help ramp us. But this Nadu is still a problem at the moment. I actually think we do want the Kozilek's Command here. Any order. And then I think we are going to go ahead and just slam this Disruptor Flute now. And just name Nomads in core proactively. And hope that they don't have Shuko. We can take a couple of Nadu beats while we work our way up to this Emrakul. Prismatic Ending on the flutes. Into a Nomads. I hate Nadu so much. I still think this stupid card needs to be banned. We're just going to go ahead and scoop it up. I'm not going to sit here and sit through this when they have an active Nomads in core. Like, I said it before, I don't think power-wise this card is a problem, but the play patterns are just fucking atrocious. The format would be better without it, 100%. That said, what are we doing here? I think we are bringing in Dismembers. I think we're going to bring in the Flusterstorms. I think we're going to go down the Pact of Negations and maybe trim one Expedition map, and let's try that. Sky Noodle. Okay, I like this quite a bit more. We will keep this. And we will lead off on Tower into Expo map. And we can try to do a big Portent of Calamity. We have an Odawara to be able to bounce a Nadu. We could also just try to do a small Portent if we think that's the route that we want to go. Flooded Strand from the opponent. Corrects the Flooded Strand into a Nomads in core. I'm really hoping that they're not the Breakfast combo too, and they're just fair mid-range Nadu. From what I saw, they are. The Breakfast builds don't normally play those green creatures and Green Sun Zenith. Okay, I don't hate Flusterstorm. We're going to play Planar Nexus. I'm trying to think what we even want to grab off of this Expedition map. Probably just another tower, just get as much mana under us as we can. I might also want another blue land to be able to portent and hold up a, whatchamacallit, Flusterstorm. But we do have Odawara. We might go grab Minamo, actually. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and grab Minamo. Just so it opens up blue mana and gives us some interesting possibilities with the One Ring. Yeah, we're going to grab Minamo. And we hit a Kozilek's command. Interesting. We are going to go ahead and play the Minamo. And this allows us to Kozilek's command for one and hold up a Flusterstorm. And opponent's going to Brainstorm, that's fine. Are they going to crack their fetch to clear it? Yes. I'm assuming we see a Hedge Maze here? Yes. Hedge Maze from the opponents. So I believe the modes we are going to do are going to be Scry Draw and Exile Nomads in core. And like I said, this allows us to also hold up a Flusterstorm. And opponent kept whatever that was on top. If they just go for a Nadu, I'm super okay with that. Force from the opponent. Into a Collector Oof. Okay. I mean, that's interesting. I think we're still going to do the thing. It just means we're not relying on the One Ring now. We are going to Scry Draw, exile a creature. We Scry Draw, exile that. Make blue mana with that, paying that. Or, whoops, I did that wrong. I don't need to make blue mana. It's fine. Scry Draw, exile a dude. And we might as well throw a little extra mana in this. Just let us dig a little bit deeper. X is currently 2. Okay. Just get rid of the Nomad. I don't super care about this Collector Roof at the moment. If I need to, I can bounce it. They're going to Flusterstorm. Okay. They clearly care about that. I am going to Flusterstorm back. And now the interface on this is awful. So the first one's on that one. Second one on that one. Third one on that one. And then same targets for the last one. So all of these should get countered. And then, yeah, these last two are at the last one. Okay. Managed to do that properly. They clearly cared about protecting the Kozilek's command. There is a Dress Down and another Kozilek's command. I think we will put Dress Down on the bottom, Kozilek's command on top, because this Kozilek's command can let us kill Collector to find the One Ring and turn it on. We draw an island. They could have some amount of counter magic still. We're going to play Urza's Tower. I think we're going to do the same thing again, and Scry Draw, Exile. Scry Draw, Exile. And we're going to do this for 2 again. A Disruptor Flute and a Lorien Revealed. Let's bottom Lorien Revealed, top Disruptor Flute. I haven't played a land yet this turn. Let's play another. Oh, I did play a land this turn. Never mind. And we'll just pass the turn from here. We can hold up Disruptor Flute for Nomads in core if they find another one. They appear to not have counter magic as of right now. Windswept Teeth. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and flash in this Disruptor Flute, force their fetch, or not. I could do land destruction here, but we're going to choose Nomads and Core. Just get that shut down for right now. They don't have counter magic, so we're kind of free to just pop off with this Portent, I think. Yep, let's just do a big-ass Portent. They were F6'd. I am leaving 1 mana open, just in case we hit something relevant. Opponent's going to Brainstorm, okay. They apparently didn't want to Brainstorm in response to the Disruptor Flute. Okay, they're going to force a Will at pitching a Ponder. Okay, we'll pass the turn then. They're down to 2 cards. I haven't seen Shuko out of their deck yet, but that is something that could be in there. Unfortunately, we are out of our card draw effects, but we still have an Otawara. Meticulous Archive, binning a Tropical Island, okay. Flooded Strand from the opponent. Teferi Time Raveler, okay. So they can bounce the Disruptor Flute. I could just replay it, and I could name Teferi if I want to, just to shut that down, but it does shut down my counter magic for now. If I draw something relevant, I can also just Otawara the Teferi and try to counter it on the way back down. Yep, going to bounce the Disruptor Flute, that's fine. And no follow-up play from the opponent. And we hit a Cloudpost. I don't think I care about this Teferi at the moment, so we're still just going to name Nomads and Core. Opponent's Brainstorming, okay. They're looking for a counter magic for the Disruptor Flute. Cracking Flooded Strand. We're going to say Nomads and Core again. Just because I don't want to get got. And we can still bounce something if we absolutely need to. We really just need one of our, like, big draw spells or one of our big-ass Eldrazi is really what we need here. Upticking Teferi. Okay. They do have a Nadu. They're passing the turn. We don't need to use the Otawara yet. Like I said, one of our big Eldrazi, a big draw spell. Planar Nexus is not what I'm looking for at the moment. Okay, they can bounce the Disruptor Flute next turn. Delighted Halfling, that's fine. I don't really care about that at all. Unfortunately, they have enough mana that if I bounce the Nadu, in response to them bouncing the Disruptor Flute, I can actually, or they can just replay it. Another Cloudpost, okay. Because what I'm worried about here is they downtick Teferi, bounce the Disruptor Flute, play a Nomads, I bounce the Nadu, and then they still have enough mana to replay it, is what I'm concerned about here. Granted, if they downtick the Teferi, I can flash the Disruptor Flute back in. Alright, so they're upticking it so that they don't just delete it, getting rid of my Disruptor Flute. Expedition Map. I don't think that does anything here. Well, actually it does, because we can play this, crack it. We can go grab Eye of Ugin. Play Eye of Ugin, activate Eye of Ugin, and this is 6, 7, 8. We can Ulamog here. Grab Ulamog. Oh, this is 10 mana. Cancel. I can actually hold some mana up. I did not realize that these were tapping for 4 apiece. I forgot about the Glimmer Post. We are going to get rid of Teferi and Nadu. They can get 1 flip off of the Nadu, which... Oh my god, it found a consigned memory? Oh my god. I cannot fucking believe that it found a fucking consigned memory. Okay. They're just gonna replicate consigned memory a whole shitload of times. Okay. Well, hopefully they don't have it to be able to go off, and we can just activate Eye of Ugin again and just try again, basically. I cannot believe that blind flipped a fucking... consigned to memory. Alright, opponent. Can you pop off this turn? Alright, they're bouncing the Disruptor Flute. Do they have the Nomads? I'm sure they do. I mean, we can't do anything. Yep, there's the Nomads. How crazy can they go? They found another Nomads, okay. The question is how many consigned memories do they have, and can they find more of them? Because my only hope right now is activate this, grab... There's a Force of Will, that's fine. Go grab Emrakul, play Emrakul, bounce Nadu, and kill them. There's another Nadu that they can play to reset everything. I'm pretty sure they can basically just draw their whole deck here. Because they can go through this whole loop, play another Nadu, go through the whole fucking loop again. Green Sun Zenith for 1. Probably grab... Okay, Sylvan Safekeeper. So they have multiple ways to do all of this. I mean, because they're still an out, I'm gonna try. I just gotta hope they somehow only had a single consign to memory, and they just don't find another one. Force of Vigor's fine, I don't care about that. Well, they're attacking with Nadu. Are they gonna play the other one is the question. It does not look like it. Okay. I guess it really just comes down to, do they randomly have another consign to memory? I'm assuming they have to. There's no way they only have one, and they're at a position where they can basically draw their whole fucking deck. So, Dismember. Well, we'll play a Planar Nexus. I'm pretty sure my math works out here to be able to go grab Embercool and play it, but we literally just have to hope here that they somehow do not have another consign to memory. If they have a consign to memory, we scoop. They're looking. Like, there's almost no way that they don't hit it. I mean, Caracas is whatever. I just get to cast it again. And there's the consign to memory, and we will scoop it up to that. God damn. Alright, on to the final round. Final round. Won the die roll. Present the Sky Noodle. 0 mana, gotta ship it. We will keep this. We will bin a redundant Ancient Tomb. And as much as this is going to hurt, we are going to start off with Ancient Tomb so that we can stock up on 2. Player Ancient Tomb, pass the turn. Volcanic Fissure, so we're up against a mono-red Stompy? Well, we're going to do some damage to ourselves, unfortunately. I feel like mono-red Stompy is going to be kind of a rough matchup here. But at least we're going to have a basic under us. And then hopefully we can stock up into counter magic. Odawar is interesting. Find me Force of Will plus a blue card? Disruptor Flute, the One Ring. I think we want the One Ring. I think we want the One Ring and stock up here. Because even if they Blood Moon us, we can still stock up again next turn. If they don't, we can the One Ring. We are doing a lot of damage to ourselves, though. Ancient Tomb from the opponent. Magus of the Moon. Okay, well, I can still at least stock up here. And then I can follow that up with the One Ring. I'm not damaging myself to this Ancient Tomb anymore. I have another the One Ring. Basic Island, Dress Down, Cloudpost. I think we want Dress Down. And let's grab another island, just so we have more mana. We will see how poorly this goes for us here. They're back down to 2 mana, but they also have Spirit Guides, and a lot of their best draws are 3 mana. I do like having redundant the One Ring, though. Unfortunately, we do not have any basic wastes, so we will never be able to cast a Kozilek's command until we find a way to deal with this, which our only real way to deal with this is survive until we hit 7 mana and draw an Ugin. But if we draw 7 mana and hit an Ugin, we are absolutely golden. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay. Well, I have a card draw engine too, opponents. Alright, opponent ships the turn. Well, there's Ugin. That's part of it. We just gotta live long enough to be able to play it. And a Planar Nexus, okay. Well, the nice part is we can buy some time until we hit Ugin. I'm also not 100% sure how Dress Down works with Magus of the Moon. I haven't ran into this yet. I don't think it makes my lands available to me again. But I very well could be wrong. Opponent chucked a Fury and a One Ring of their own. Okay. Another Fable. Okay. We also could Odawara the Magus. But we need to wait until we have enough mana to be able to go absolutely fucking crazy with it. Alright, take our 1 for the One Ring. We draw another Planar Nexus. Let's draw some cards. A Minamo and another Ugin. So this is 5 mana. I could try to take a turn off to see if the interaction works the way I think it does. What's the worst that can happen here? A One Ring of their own? So if I play this, I do have the mana to be able to evoke a Null Drifter and hold up Dress Down, or I can just wait, take my beats, bounce Magus at end of turn, unlock my mana, play Ugin, and start going crazy. Or I can just play it safe, play the One Ring, and we go from there. I think we're just going to go ahead and see what happens here. Like, worst case scenario, if I absolutely have to, I can emergency Dress Down. I think we want to get rid of a Glimmer Post. And I think we'll get rid of Minamo here. We'll see what they do. If I have to, I can Dress Down. Like, if they just drop a Broadside Bombardiers, I can go ahead and just do that. And if it works, it unlocks my mana to be able to bounce the Magus of Moon at end of turn. But again, I don't think it works that way. Chuck to Simian Spirit Guide and a Shatter Skull Smashing. Okay. Mount from the opponent. A Pyrogoyf. Okay, that's fine. I can take that damage. I don't think I care about that at all. It will be a problem later, but by that point, Ugin should be able to come down and start just doing nasty shit. I'll take 4 here, go to 11, take 6, go to 5, and then hopefully I will stabilize after that. I'll go to 3 off of the One Ring, go to 5, I'll go to 3. If they have another Pyrogoyf, I have to emergency dress down, which it looks like they might. The One Ring. Okay, I think that's fine. And then it just comes down to, can I stabilize with Ugin here? We're going to bounce the Magus, unlock our mana for the turn, go to 3. We draw a Portent. Let's draw some more, see what we hit. We hit a Glimmer Post, which can gain us a little bit of life. So we will play Glimmer Post, gain a little life, 7 mana, play Ugin, get rid of Pyrogoyf. We will add some mana. Unfortunately, we have to hurt ourselves a bit here. We will Ugin, get rid of the Reflections of Kiki-Jiki, keep the One Ring, and then we will pass the turn. And we might have stabilized. There's a world where they can kill this Ugin, but we have another one to be able to play. They might not value replaying the Magus at this point. And the Ugin is a good distraction. Alright, they are going after the Ugin. If they have a Fury or a Pyrogoyf to follow this up, then that Ugin can die, but I have another one. Okay, they do value replaying the Magus. And they do have another Pyrogoyf, okay. So they can kill that Ugin. The question just becomes is, can we stabilize here? Chrome Mox, okay. And then we will draw a card. Kozilek's Command, okay. Take our 1 from the One Ring. We are in a very precarious spot here. That is a Cloudpost. So if I play Cloudpost first. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we can either... I think I'm dead no matter what happens here. We can try to do an experiment and see if Dress Down affects Magus of the Moon. Because I can play Ugin, exile Pyrogoyf, play a Kozilek's Command for 1 to get rid of a Goblin and Reflections of Kiki-Jiki, which doesn't actually do anything for us here. So if Dress Down works, it gives us the most actual mana to be able to play with and try to do some dumb stuff here. So I am doing this purely for science. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay. I didn't think it did, but you never know. I guess let's try Portent of Calamity. I didn't think it worked, but I was willing to give it a shot. And yeah, there's nothing there. Okay. So we were dead no matter what we did if the Dress Down didn't work. It's because of the way that layers work. So I had a feeling it wasn't going to, but I just wanted to verify that it wasn't going to. But anyways, we are bringing Hydroblasts, we are bringing in Dismembers, and we are bringing in Consigned Memories. I think we're going to get rid of the Force Negations, trim some amount of Expedition maps, and let's try that. Alright. Sky Noodle, no mana, gotta ship it. No mana, gotta ship it. Oh god, not like this deck, not like this. Oh my god, deck, seriously? Seriously? I guess we're keeping this. Null Drifter, Tower, and Cloudpost back. And Dismember. This is just, wow, this is absolutely horrible. Had to mulligan all the way to 3 to get any actual functional mana. Volcanic Fissure from the opponent tapped, okay. So at least they don't have a blazing fast start yet, so we have a chance to draw out of this, at least in theory. We are going to play the island. Like, we have a chance to draw out of this. We just gotta counter the right key spell first. And hope that they don't have redundant moon effects. Or that they don't have a moon effect backed up with Simian Spirit Guide into Red Blast. There's an Ancient Tomb. Into a Fable. I'm not going to fight that yet. I care more about my mana than anything else right now. Okay, Null Drifter isn't bad. That at least gets us back into this for a second here. And since we have a basic island, we can kill a Resolved Moon effect to unlock our mana again. And we hit Force of Will and Portent. Okay, so we've got a couple of layers of protection now if we absolutely need it. Chucked 2 Void Mirrors. Interesting. Broadside Boomby Dooms. Okay, we'll take our beats for a minute here. Just gonna chuck the treasure right off of the bat, so they're just trying to go aggro. That's okay-ish for now. Planar Nexus gives us a shitload of mana now. And I think we're going to Portent for 4? Leave up Hydroblast just in case they have a Red Blast effect. We hit Dismember and a bunch of fucking lands. That's a little annoying. But I can always take the hit to be able to kill Broadside Boomby Dooms. And then I still have Hydroblast for something else crazy if I need it. Another Broadside. As much as I hate to do this, we're gonna do this. And then we are going to Force of Will the second one. We just need a bomb off of the top. Into another Fable, okay. We need one of our bombs off of the top now. Like, an Ugin would be absolutely amazing here. That's an Ugin. We will get rid of the Fable. This is our way to stabilize here. Granted, there are lots of ways that this Ugin can just fucking die, but... Uptick Ugin. Okay, Null Drifter is nice, especially if Ugin makes it around the table here. But there are lots of ways that Ugin can just die here. Alright, they chucked 2 Chalice of the Voids. Ooh, that's some pretty art on Chalice. Chrome Box, okay. Put a Shatterskull Smashing under it. They have 2 cards in hand. There are still combinations of 2 cards that are able to kill this Ugin. The hope is that they just don't have a way to do it. This also does... I'm assuming they're going to attack the Ugin. No, they're going face. Okay. So they don't care about the Ugin. They're just trying to kill me. I don't think there are 6 types in the graveyard for a Pyroglyph to be able to kill me. Alright, they have 1 card left. What do they have? Bunch of damage. No, untapping. Semi-Spirit Guide. Okay, cool. We have a shot here. And we draw Lorien Revealed. We are going to start off with the Null Drifter. And we are going to... we kind of want to hit the board here. I think we're going to take out the Goblin Shaman. Because, like, the Fable doesn't really do anything when it flips over. So I don't super care about that at the moment. Okay, and the opponent scooped it up. Holy shit, we got back from a mulligan to 3. Do we want to change anything? I don't think we do. We just want to not mulligan into Oblivion to find our mana. Alright. Present the Sky Noodle. Okay, I don't hate this. As long as they don't turn 1... whatchamacallit us here. Blood Moon us. I think we're okay. And we can hopefully draw into a blue card to go with this Force of Will. Volcanic Fissure from the opponent. Tapped. Okay. So we're not getting turn 1 Blood Moon. This gives us a shot to draw into a blue card to go with this Force of Will. That is a Dismember. We are going to go ahead and start out with Urza's Tower. We can Dismember a Magus. If it's true Blood Moon, then we're kind of just screwed. But this gives us 4 mana to be able to disrupt her Flute. 3 mana, 4 mana. Okay. Magus is fine. We have an answer for that. It hurts, but we have an answer. Into an Ugin. We will play a Disruptor Flute. I think we are going to name Magus of the Moon just so they can't shut us off of our mana. Just so if they have another one, it's going to cost them more mana. And we can try to work our way up to this Ugin. City of Traders. Into a Broadside Bombardiers. Okay. That's mostly fine. I'd still like a blue card to go with this Force of Will. And we do need to find a way to deal with this Broadside eventually. If we hit another tower, that's a Null Drifter. So I could play Eye of Ugin. I think I'm better off just evoking this Null Drifter here. And we will do this in a way that leaves open our blue mana. Okay. So we have a blue card to go along with this Force of Will to stop anything too crazy here. I would like some more acceleration. Another Urza's Tower would be great. Glimmer Post can gain us a little bit of life. We'll take 2. If they try to play anything post-combat, we're probably going to go ahead and just Force of Will it. Sundering Eruption. Yeah, we can't let that happen. We need our mana too much. And we hit a stock up. Okay. I don't hate that. Let's go ahead and stock up. Find some cards. The One Ring, Portent of Calamity, stock up Manamo, Ancient Tomb. I think we want the One Ring and Portent of Calamity. Unfortunately, we don't have the mana to be able to cast the One Ring this turn, but this will gain us a life. We could Portent for 1, but I don't think that's worth it. And we'll pass the turn and hope we make it around the table. Because next turn we can Ugin to get rid of this broadside. Fiery Confluence. Okay. That's fine. Because we can slam Ugin next turn. And then that kind of just solves all of our problems here, and we stabilize. Okay, and we have a Hydroblast, though I don't think that actually matters. This will gain us a little life. And we're just tapping all of our mana anyways. And we cast Ugin, get rid of your broadside Boomby Dooms. And then we'll gain even more life. Draw a card. An Urza's Tower. So next turn we can go absolutely bananas. And even if they resolve another Magus, we have a Hydroblast to be able to kill it. So I think we got into this one, and I think we can squeak out a win unless they do something absolutely fucking insane. Alright, Ancient Tomb after tapping a bunch of mana. Playing a Fury. Full cost. That's fine. It's just going to get exiled. 4 damage onto Ugin. Again, totally fine. Fury is just going to get exiled as soon as I cast this One Ring. We drew a Force of Will. We're going to go ahead and just plus here. See if we draw anything else worth casting this turn. Repeal isn't bad. Play Urza's Tower. Play the One Ring. Exile your Fury. And opponent scoops it up! Okay, managed to squeak back in there and get half of our entry feedback. But yeah, this was interesting, but we'll get to all that in the wrap-up. Well, at the end of the league, I think we got to see both the good and the bad of this deck. We got to see just the crushing late-game inevitability that this style of deck has, and how well it is able to get its mana under it for the most part, even through hate pieces like Blood Moon, because all of our payoff spells outside of Kozilek's Command are just generic mana. We don't need specifically colorless mana, so we are able to work our way through land hate pieces like Blood Moon, Harbinger of the Tide, stuff like that. However, we did see the downside of being an 80-card Yorion deck, where you just have less of each card in the deck, so mulliganing with this thing is pretty rough for the most part. I mean, you saw we had to mulligan all the way down to 3 in one of our games, just to be able to have a functional opening hand. The blue did feel really good, being able to churn through our deck and being able to pop off a Portent of Calamity for a huge number to be able to get our handful of cards and be able to get some big game ender for free. So overall, I do think the deck felt really good, despite a little bit of inherent stumbling just because of the fact that it is a Yorion deck and there are so many cards in the deck, and relying on what you have just to try to find what you need. Despite the fact that the deck does have some tutoring in it and does have a decent amount of card draw, you still have to find it in the first place, and you don't have your traditional cantrips like Brainstorm, Ponder, stuff like that to be able to churn through it. You are relying on your stock up and your Portent of Calamity and stuff like that. The only real change I would recommend is I feel like this deck could use Karn and a Karn board. I'm not super sure what you want to take out of it to fit those in, but I definitely feel like being able to have access to a Karn to turtle up under an Ensnaring Bridge in the early game, or be able to close the game out faster with like the Mycosynth Lock or some kind of big artifact creature to close the game out would be nice. We did see that the deck kind of struggles up against fast aggro go-wide decks, while it does have a decent amount of removal in the form of Kozilek's Command and then Dress Down to shut down like Urza's Saga constructs and stuff like that. Ugin is really your only real removal spell that's repeatable, and while yes, it can snipe down an entire board if you have enough colorless spells to cast once you resolve it, you still need to have those colorless spells to cast, and this deck doesn't really have that many cheap colorless spells to really be able to pop off with Ugin and chain its triggered ability to really mow down the board. So I feel like something to be able to get you through the early game would definitely benefit this deck. That being said, if you were to put Karn in it, obviously you would need to change up your sideboard quite a bit to have a Karn board, and I'm not super sure what I would do about that. Most of the sideboard felt pretty good for the most part, and they all have things that allow you to handle various matchups and stuff. I wasn't a huge fan of Dismember. It is a good removal spell that you can cast at any time, but you're casting it up against these aggro decks that are low to the ground, and the life loss is a real downside. So I don't know if that should just be replaced with maybe some more bounce style stuff like Into the Flood Maw, some more repeals, or if you just want to get rid of those and take those slots to be able to use something like a Ratchet Bomb or an Ensnaring Bridge and a Karn board style thing to be able to handle those super aggro matchups. But overall, the deck was a ton of fun. I don't know if I would recommend it for a large tournament, but for an FNM, it's definitely something fun to try. It did feel pretty consistent outside of the mulligans for the most part, but just be aware, being a 80 card Yorion deck, there is some inherent inconsistency just because of the total number of cards in the deck. But anyways, that is Blue Cloud Post. I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing. I will catch you on the next video. And as always, stay salty. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. They are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.